Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late. They cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired as a friend on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Peace and blessings, great praise and honor to the Most High. Happy Wednesday, folks. Shout outs to Pat in the building. I see you, sir. Appreciate you for stopping through. Coach, what's the word, man? How you feeling this morning?
Hey, what's up, man? Good morning. Feeling good. Trying to stay warm, brother. How about yourself?
Likewise. We didn't get no more snow, but I'm grateful for the little bit we did get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Shout outs to the poets, the writers, the content creators. I always give my flowers out to them. You see the title. We gotta go down that rabbit hole, man, because we gotta stop doing that. We wasting each other's time on both sides. More or less on the guy side, if you think that's the only way that you're going to get somebody to lock in with you. I got a clip I'm going to bring up. It's not a very long one, but it should give y'all some context. And we just going to go from there. Let me get this up on a big screen. He spent $400 on his girl, and then he went to complaining about it. The comment section came for him, as they should have. I'm not surprised that they came at him like that, but I want to get y'all thoughts on it. So I'm going to play the clip, and then we're just going to run it up.
All right, bet.
She was $400. Yeah, I'm always getting used for money.
What? Oh yeah, he's going. Yep, that's what he's doing. Here he goes.
She was.
That's it right there. I'm always getting used for money, and then you heard her response. Yep, that's it. Do I even need to go to the comment section? Let me read a few of these real quick, and then I want to get your thoughts. This one person said, "Why'd you buy it then?" Cry emoji. The other one, let's go further down. So we acting like $400 ain't crazy. Let's go down a little more. So then why you with her, bro? One more. Bro probably led with his wallet, fellas. If she truly sees you as him, she ain't gonna be hitting you for bread like that. If anything, she gonna spend something on you. All right. Initial thoughts on the clip. Anything.
Yeah, if you're gonna spend the money, I just don't see what his reaction was. Like passive aggressive, and if you got an issue with it, then that's something you should identify in the beginning. But I'm sure it's not something that he brought up. It's probably his gateway into having those type of relationships. To be honest with you.
I like what you said with the passive part, right? Because it do come off like, oh, he's not going to say that to her at home in the privacy of their own space. So he's reaching out to the internet in a way where he can basically express what he wants to say without actually saying it, because he's scared that she's going to lash out or she's going to walk away from him or something. Like, he don't really seem like he has much control in that environment specific. I could be wrong, but I'm with you on that. Then the other gentleman said it too. Why would you even sign up for that if you ain't okay with them conditions and terms?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like you said, by his passive aggressiveness, he probably brings it up all the time, versus just handling it VFR direct, just going, and identifying what the problem is. That just goes to the communication issues and barriers that some of these, younger folks have these days. So I think that's more or less, what the issue is just his inability to address the issue. It might have started out as something that he maybe thought was cool and spoiling her, and then starting to realize that may be his value. It's like you said, within the wallet itself.
A lot of brothers out here, man, they flex. Look at my wrists. Look at my chains, and look at my cars, and look at all of these properties I own, and look at all of this and all of that. And they lead with that. That's their oh, I'm better than you because I have this and I have that. But what are you without that? Right? What type of person are you? Can you keep people around you without all of this money? Can you get the respect that you want out of these people without that money? Can you get honor, loyalty? Can you get trust out of people without buying them extravagant gifts? This man right here, he saw something shiny. He wanted it. So he paid for it. The only difference is between this and jewelry doesn't devalue. She will at some point. She's going to get older. She's not going to be in the same shape that she's in now. Her attitude might get worse. Her personality might get worse. And what I'm saying is, you went out of your way to pursue her, and she probably wasn't checking for you like that. She might have thought he's okay, but what can he really do for me? What can he really offer me that's going to make me really want to stay here? Right? Because we talked about this last night. A lot of these relationships are transactional. It's about what can I get out of this person. It's not really about real connection. So she probably thought he was okay, but not to the extent to where she would do the things that a person who actually likes a person would do without those extra conditions.
Yeah, it just goes to again how much substance a person has. Things you have to look at is what do you have when you come to the table, and then what are you looking for in return. So if he's saying that he's always getting used for money, then that's obviously saying that he doesn't have much to bring to the table, substance wise. And if he does, I won't say that he completely has nothing, but he might not know how to utilize the qualities that he has. Like you said, dangling those sparkling and shiny things in front of somebody, that's that provides that instant attraction. But is he looking for substance, or what's the objective? Or you just looking for somebody you can, like Zay said yesterday, tricking on people, and then that's what that's what you're gonna get out of the relationship. So again, you get what you pour into it. You can't pour into somebody, you can't look for them to pour back into you. So it just depends on what type of relationships you want to have. And as far as for asking for money and those things, it doesn't matter who asks for what. It just depends on what you're doing for each other. So it's all about balance. So be sure to be 50-50. One person may have money, but the other person may have other qualities. As far as for trying to help you become a better person. So it is a trade-off, and it can be transactional. It just depends on what type of transactions they are and what they're limited to.
You get them how you lose them how you get them. You are what you attract. Your internal world is a reflection of your external world. Now, all of those factors should be a key component into understanding why some things do not function in the areas that they're supposed to at maximum capacity. You said something that I thought was fascinating. It's supposed to be a cohesion between you and the other person. The reason why there is no cohesion is because somebody is not operating on the same wavelength as you are, or vice versa. Why is that? Why is it that imbalance, right? How come we see this type of scenario over and over and again, where you got a guy who's complaining about, oh, why you don't love me the way that I love you? Why am I pouring into you more than? Why do we keep seeing this dynamic? And it all goes back to imbalance. You're not equally yoked. That man can be attractive. That woman can be attractive. Doesn't really matter if you're not operating on the same level in life, going in the same direction, financially, emotionally, spiritually, all that. You have to be in sync. One of the reasons why y'all keep on failing in these relationships is because you are not operating at the fullest of your capabilities. You're not really truly loving yourself in the ways that you're supposed to. Because if you were, your personality, your walk would be enough for anybody. It would be acceptable. You wouldn't have to go out here and have a billboard with how many dollar signs come attached to you in order for someone to pay attention to you. Who you are would be good enough. They would just be drawn by your laugh or your smile or your conversation or how you treat people. They would be attracted to the person that is confident within themselves. You wouldn't have to do all this extra. The fact that you are having to go out of your way to impress somebody is a absolute no. You never go out of your way to try to impress somebody. You be yourself, and if they gravitate towards it, cool. If they don't, that's not for you.
Yeah, I think it's just nowadays, again, we keep talking about the social media aspect, and that's how most people are engaging and interacting with each other. And you, you're just a walking marketing tool for yourself. So if you're marketing yourself by only posting pictures, of the best time of the day that you're looking at your optimal best, if you're posting pictures with filters making you look like something that I guess they call it catfishing nowadays. So the same thing can be said if you're posting like everybody's posting, pictures with money phones and sitting on stacks of money and all those type of things. And again, look at who their role models are. I mean, again, looking at the type of people, the type of music that they listen to, the type of shows and things that they're being projected out there, that's what they're thinking is, or not thinking, but that's what's actually taking place in life every day. So you don't have a lot of tools out there that's showing people other ways or other facets of being in relationships and different relationship styles. So everything's about the high glimmer and glitz, going out and spending all this money. But then what are you doing with the things that you're actually out here buying? You know what I mean? Are these things tangible? Now you look at people, they talk about going on trips, and then most of the women are saying they don't want to go somewhere unless they're being bent over a handrail on a balcony. You know what I mean? Not necessarily about actually going on trips, enjoying the beaches and the sights and whatever things the countries may have to offer to you. But the highlights are being having sex bent over on the balcony. So again, it's just looking at what the objectives are and what's being displayed as happiness these days. So low standards and things that are easily obtainable. Taking somebody to the store and buying some shit that was on clearance and maybe thrown in the trash or not worn again in 3 days. So it's everything is short term. Everything is that instant gratification. It's not necessarily defining, how making somebody feel or, developing those and fostering those type of relationships. So it's just what you're seeing out there is what you get. It's kind of it's short sighted. It's definitely short sighted.
You can get a woman on your program that isn't into you, but because you have something that she wants, she'll still operate under your guidance to a certain degree. Put it like this. This is kind of touching on what Pat said. So you got the same guy. Let's say you have twins. One has the money, but his internal work doesn't really match or reflect the money. He's probably the more laid back person. He's not a club type of person. He has a skill set where it requires discipline and organization. He's the book reader, but he has money. Then you have the other one. He is George Clooney. He's The Rock. He's Future. Now he doesn't have the money, but he has all of the other attributes that provide excitement, that exhilarating feeling. He's probably going to be more vocal, more outgoing, et cetera, et cetera. That woman, most, not all, but a large majority of them, they want you to be two people in one. They know that they can't get two people in one. So they will either settle for man number one who has the money, and he might be boring to her, but he has the provisions to take care of her. She's attracted to him, but she doesn't have that carnality attached to it. Just enough to where she can tolerate him. Now, this gentleman is going to get the bare minimum out of her. Just enough to keep him. The other guy, while he doesn't have the financial, or he might, he crosses other areas on her list that allows her wild side to come out. It allows her to enjoy him more. So guy number one might be a great guy, but because he doesn't have the attributes that the other guy has, he's not going to be able to pull out of her what is required for that relationship to survive. The other guy, he can get all of it out of her and then some, but he's not the one that's going to get her to settle down because he doesn't care about that. So when you go out here and you put all of your money out there in front of you, you're doing a disservice to yourself because you're not going to get out of her what you want. You want out of her what the other guy is getting out of her. And it's not going to happen because y'all just aren't on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I think it comes with age, man. I would say, what's the specific age group we're talking about? And then I'll just speak specifically for men at this point. What's your objective and what program are you on? So there's nothing wrong with you spending money, flashing money. It just depends on the mindset. If you're not mature enough to spend money and have boundaries and establish, roles and responsibilities within the relationship, be able to converse and identify what you want and what you're looking for, that comes with maturity. I don't think it has anything to do with you spending money or blowing money. It also depends on what you're looking for, because it's nothing wrong with you spending money on somebody, but if you're spending money on somebody who's not appreciative or doesn't reciprocate whatever it is that you convey that you're looking for, then that goes back to you not wasting your time, but you're going through experiences that you aren't necessarily growing from. So that might need to be something that you look at in the actual women or the partner that you choose. And it's also based on the demographic of where you're choosing from. If you're looking into an area and the prospects that you're looking at, they aren't mature enough to handle themselves in a certain way, then that's what you're going to get. Again, it goes back to communication. And then providing that balance. It goes both ways, because now women are spending money on men as well, and more money on men. It just depends on the actual man himself. So again, it's based on experience, it's based on maturity levels, it's based on a bunch of different things. I don't think money is the issue. I think the maturity level of the individual with the money is the issue. And then not knowing how to either one, properly establish what they want in that relationship. And then you got to think about it comes back to that balance piece. So remove money from the equation. You can provide shelter, provide security and other aspects of it. But you can also should be able to teach that person something. You should be able to educate them and coach them to say, hey, look, this is what I need you to do. This is what I'm looking at as far as for reciprocation. If you're only looking for me just to provide money. So again, I think it's being able to communicate your needs, your wants, and how it's going to benefit you in that relationship. So if you can't do those things, then you might be taken advantage of. You might be easily manipulated. And then so you have to take the accountability within yourself. And it's not necessarily the woman or the partner that's taking advantage of you for spending the money. It's the onus falls back on you for not understanding what you want in a partner. So I would say stop using the money as I spent $400. Well, if you didn't have $400 to spend, then why'd you spend it? And if you had $400 to spend and it's not a big deal, then you wouldn't be talking about it or you wouldn't be complaining about it. So, or if you need to learn how to communicate better and stop being passive aggressive and just say, hey, look, I'm spending a lot of money. I would like to see X, Y, and Z, or I'm not receiving enough of X, Y, and Z. How can we, communicate, navigate this situation to make it more pleasurable and aesthetic for both of us? So again, it goes back to the communication piece versus, and with money doesn't come education, and with money doesn't come the other intangibles to make relationships work. So those are things you got to work upon yourself to make sure that you're being taken care of and validated.
Stop it. Get some help.
I say it all the time. Stop getting involved with people if you ain't got a control or a hold on your own movements. Like if you know that you susceptible to a pretty face and all they gotta do is bat their eyes at you and you putty in their hands, then you probably shouldn't be dealing with another human being. If you're easily swayed by a fat ass or someone with a awesome jaw structure and physique, you probably shouldn't be getting involved with these folks. If you're accustomed or your traumas are dealing with folks who are just great finessers and they know how to talk your drawers off, you probably don't need to be dealing with folks. If you don't know how to stand your ground as an adult dealing with another adult, you should not be getting involved with nobody. Your whole foundation needs to be solid. Period. You got to be confident. You got to know this is make or break. This is what I provide. This is what I offer. This is who I am. I find you interesting. I find you attractive. Can we take this further than where we are? You have your thing. I have my thing. Does this work? Does this make sense for us? And if not, then keep moving. But yeah, you was about to say something?
No, I'm with you. Know your worth and, be able to articulate that, like you said. And if that doesn't work, keep it moving.
Yeah, like you would think it's pretty simple, but it go back to that maturity piece. How much of this is cultural?
I would say majority of it. Like we keep saying, you are what you consume. So if this is what you're watching on your phone, you're watching on the TV, you're watching on, social media, that this type of behavior is being displayed. It seems like it's a culture of one-upping. Let me go out here and do the same thing and then complain about it on social media and get likes and clicks for it. I'm assuming if the young man is not happy about spending the money, where's his uncles, brothers, mentors, OGs, whatever you want to call them. Somebody out there should be educating them, and if he's not necessarily happy in the relationship, or if he's just complaining on the camera just to, again to get likes or clicks. It's completely depends on the mindset of the individual. But there should be some people out there that kind of pull them underneath that wing and say, hey, look, young man, this is not the outcome that you want. Maybe move like this, move like that. And, maybe you'll get the results that you're looking for. So it just depends on the objective of the spendee, I would say.
All right. So here's a downside to leading with your money. I'm gonna give one. You're gonna be like the gentleman in this video, right? He's not really happy. He's happy, but he's not happy. So he's happy because he got eye candy. He got somebody that he can lay next to in the bed. But at what cost? Something had to be sacrificed for that. Because it comes off as if in order for him to maintain keeping her happy, he has to supplement for what she's not putting into him. He has to go extra to keep her impressed or keep her attention. So he has to do extra for her to stay around, which is draining him mentally, and it's probably taking a toll on him in more other ways than we know about, because he has to keep on coughing out attention. He got to keep on coughing out money. He got to keep buying gifts. He got to keep on keeping his mouth closed. He can't really speak how he wants. He can't say what he really wants to say. So that's taking a toll on him. She don't really care, because that's the dynamic of that particular situation. And so all you really doing is keeping her on a pedestal while you are diminishing yourself. You're not getting out of this what you really want. Yeah, you probably getting some here and there. I doubt you getting it as much as you would like. I bet you're not getting it the way that the other person probably would. I bet you're not getting the type of affection and time that you would like out of it either. Guarantee it's not equal. I'm certain it ain't. So that's one reason why I would say, man, you definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah. So in relationships, it's always going to be a sacrifice. It's always, push, pull, give. Often, sometimes people give more than others, but again, it can be you can sacrifice the money or replace the money for with attention. You replace the money with maybe affection. You can replace the money with anything, but again, at the end of the day, it's all about balance. So I can't speak to his mindset of how he feels, but I would just say, it's give and take on both sides, and at the end of the day, the objective is for both parties to be, equally, not happy, but equally happy, or at least an understanding that the attempt is there. So, but yeah, as far as for, they say now attention is the new currency. So that's what perhaps posting those type of videos and complaining about spending the money just to get people, communicating and conversating on whatever exactly their relationship is. But no, definitely sacrifice has to be made on both parts. It can't be just one-sided, but I agree with that part.
And that's exactly why I said, and I'm not even speaking on him specifically. He's just the subject of the matter, but there has to be a balance at some point. One complements the other. Where one person has weaknesses, you have the other portion to tip the scale back. So it's like, all right, put this up here, and then I'm good in this area, I'm bad in this area, so go like this. So, but because you're good in this area, it kind of brings it back here, and then if it's like this, and then it's like that, it's like, but when you are dealing with somebody for the wrong reasons, and you are investing in them for reasons that don't really align properly, this is typically what you get. So I don't know. He might not be stressed. This might be attention seeking. Everything is online. I can't stand it. I can't. Just like, is this AI? Is this real? Are they really angry? Are they really arguing? Is this really a fight? Is this really a subject that needs to be had? You don't really be knowing sometimes, but this is a different generation. Hell, it's people our age that's up here clickbaiting. So I still just feel like, man, and it goes for women as well. If you want the best out of a man, your approach has to be everything. What you put out there matters. You can't lead with your body and expect to get treated like a potential wife leading with your body. Your attitude has to be in order. Your mindset has to be in order. I mean, it's like that on both sides of the fence. So, but I don't see no scenario where pouring into somebody more than they pour into you ever works out.
Yeah, no, great point. Great point. It definitely has to be as close to equal as possible, but definitely good points.
What do you say to somebody, especially gentlemen, who seem to utilize these superficial means as a way to garner success, achievements, validation, affection?
Man, I would just say, if they're going about it that way, one, if it's working, when I say working, is if they're meeting those objectives, then is that truly what you were looking for, and how does it feel once you accomplish those tasks? And I think that's where it relies in, is the feeling of satisfaction once you accomplish that task. And if the feeling is emptiness, if you don't feel a sense of satisfaction, you have to pivot and do something else. Then possibly that wasn't what you were looking for. If it is the sense of satisfaction and you are happy with it, then how long does that happiness last? And then if it wasn't what you were looking for, then that might be a reason for you to sit down and do some self-evaluating and maybe try to figure out where you went wrong. If you didn't find that sense of happiness from that, and if you did and it was only temporary, maybe get a couple goals or objectives up there that you can reach or maybe obtainable. Figure out if you accomplish that task, why you necessarily only had a temporary sense of satisfaction or relief from it. And then, just maybe figure out in totality that might not have been what you were necessarily looking for. It could have been a piece of what you were looking for. And, kind of reevaluate and go from there.
This woman said, yep, that's what you're here for. I had to listen to that a couple times.
She said that on the video?
She said that in the video.
Oh, I think I missed that part. That's what you're here for? Yeah, that makes it different. That changes the conversation.
Yeah, because it was like she said it kind of like under her breath, so I had to replay it a few times. But when I heard it for the last one, I'm like, hold up. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That I don't think she's really there for you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, she just identified, man. Hey, look, I just need you here to spend this money and keep it moving. You just the easy target or easy mark. I mean, that's all that is. Obviously, that if that's what he's there for, if that's what she says, then it will be perceived that obviously he has no value whatsoever to her other than the monetary value. So that would definitely speaks volumes to him, even if playing or not playing. If that was if he accepted that response and continues to make those purchases, and that just goes to possibly the low self-esteem and the other issues that contribute to his mindset and why he's constantly doing that over and over again, as he alluded to, saying that he's obviously made these purchases before. So that just goes to the the mindset of that individual, and she's taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? So like you said earlier, obviously the control dynamics are leaning towards her favor. The leverage is in her hand, obviously, because he keeps doing the same thing over and over again. So that speaks to something completely different.
I would, as soon as I heard that shit, I would have took whatever I bought right back with that receipt. Yeah, give me no, ain't no hell no, ain't no fucking way in the world.
Yeah, but that just goes to, again, he's already done it before, man. So that shows that she has the control in the relationship. You know what I mean? already devaluing, talking down to them. So, all type of insights to potential, issues as far as for, being manipulated and controlled. So, and, power of the, taking, especially if you mentioned earlier, he might not, that's the only way that he has access to get into some of those rooms with those young ladies is probably using that money. So that's shown, already the lack of self-esteem that the young man probably has, and then a lot of people in the young folks in this generation now, because I think he said he's a social media influencer, and that's how he was getting money. So again, some, and that's the issue too with some of the social media stuff is you can monetize, and it might come. I'm not going to say it comes easy, but necessarily the work ethic of going to work every day for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that tends to build a little value into what you're doing, because you're getting your ass up every morning and you're putting the work in. And this may be vision may be a little skewed, but to get online and maybe record yourself doing some of the things that you naturally do every day, it might not give you the full appreciation of the money that you're generating that's coming in, because the manual labor, you know what I mean, versus something that comes natural by hitting record and just kind of being yourself. So you might not appreciate the actual money that you receive. So therefore, giving it away you might not appreciate the giving away the money or losing the money in that aspect, in that fashion. So it could be some similarities in that too, that not necessarily appreciating the money because you were breaking your back making that money, but making it a little bit easier and getting it a little bit more accessible. They might not look at it the same way as some of us do as far as for, holding on to that money. So there could be some differences in that as well.
It's that passive aggressive attitude and that lifestyle that create these type of women right here. But that attitude, that's why they feel like they can talk to you however you want, because they think that you are just like the guys that they're used to or accustomed to, pretty much bending over backwards, slaving for their attention and approval. They think everybody just acts that way or talk that way or think that way. Nah, there are folks who actually have self-respect and dignity, not negative dignity. They really just, you're going to talk to me like an adult. You're going to treat me like an adult. You're going to give me the same level of respect as any other human being out here in the world. You're not going to talk to me like a child. You're not going to throw fits. You're not going to act like a 7-year-old when you don't get your way, et cetera, et cetera. Dudes like this are the reason why a lot of these females be so ratchet and so loose with the tongue. They don't know how to dress properly. They don't even think that you have to have some type of decorum in a relationship. So you telling me, oh, you met me like this, so I should be able to dress how I want. But do you want me to check off every single thing on this list of requirements that you need from me? But when it comes to mines, it's all just dismissed. That attitude don't just come from nowhere. You've said it on numerous occasions. Somebody taught you that. You learned that from somewhere. So a lot of dudes out here with no self-esteem, you letting these women walk all over you and talk to you and treat you all kinds of ways. And I'm not telling you to hit them in the head with a rock or nothing like that. I'm just saying respect, guys. It has to be distributed fair and equally to everybody. And if you're not going to give them that respect, then you need to keep it pushing. I'll be right back.
I would say it seems like in real life, it's easy to have boundaries, to have self-esteem, to talk about morals, values, and and the things that you're willing to put up with and not put up with. But it seems like that line is blurred once you go online. Once you go online, it's like everything is fair game. Those rules and those things you talk about in life, that's not applicable online. That's only applicable to real life. It seems like it's almost like we're drawing a line between two different worlds. Once you get online, you can act however you want to act. And if you can't deal with it, then this isn't the space for you. And that's kind of where it seems like the cutoff culture is coming into play. Is basically if you're trying to, or an old way of thinking, right? So if you're trying to hold me to standards and you're trying to establish boundaries, those are the things you don't do online. If you come online and anything is fair game, and it seems like that's where the disconnect is taking place between the two different, I won't even call them generations, because I'll just say almost two different worlds, because it's not just the younger demographic, it's everybody online. If you want to compete online, you have to be doing pretty much what everybody else is doing, or the algorithm won't pick you up. It won't promote you. It won't put you out there into that world to navigate and to be amongst the rest of the community. It almost kind of puts you to the side so that your information doesn't get intertwined with what's really going on. And I think that's some of the disconnects that we have with these generations, because a lot of things you talk about with the money and the way people communicate and do things, it's almost old school in a sense. Like when we were coming up and you would hear your parents say you had to court, people when you went out on a date, you had to do these type of things. Now nobody wants to hear that stuff anymore. If I'm not attracted, I ain't messing with you. If you don't have X amount of likes and followers, then I won't even engage in a conversation with you. And that's kind of what it's turning into. So it's all about the status quo. And that's where I think the disconnect is coming into play. So it's easy for us to kind of talk about these folks online that are doing these things, and we're not necessarily engaged. And that's probably where, the lack of respect comes into play. Calling people, everybody's being called unk now that's in their 30s, not necessarily have the experience or the knowledge and wisdom to even be called unk, but that's just now it's just a thing, it's a common trend if you're older. And it's almost like, hey, we'll call you that in a subtle way of disregarding some of the things that you've been through and some of your experiences. So it's definitely things that you have to look at when you navigate these different spaces, and how some of the people are, taking in the things that they're doing throughout the day on a day-to-day basis. Some other things that are kind of worth looking at and looking into is why they're being promoted to do these things. It seems they're being kind of thrusted into the forefront. You're seeing all these videos, and a lot of people are doing reaction videos to a lot of people's personalities and actions that are going out, but people keep highlighting that stuff. So if it's not being highlighted, then it wouldn't be so much focus on, and people wouldn't naturally gravitate towards those areas and those personalities. So that's something else that you got to think about as well, is as you're highlighting these things online, obviously people are going to naturally gravitate towards that. If you see somebody out there shopping, they're getting likes and clicks and views, like that young man spending money on somebody, then naturally somebody else is going to go out there and do the same thing. Like we just talked about, in a system of everybody trying to one up somebody to get another like, to get another view, another share. So it's definitely, it could be detrimental to the community, but with that other information, you just got to make sure you're promoting the positive information that's out there as well. There's nothing wrong with spending money on a partner or a significant other, especially if the respect is there, and so taking people on trips, showing some people's love language is receiving gifts, some is giving gifts. So again, that balance can be there. There's nothing wrong with it, but what we see in display is the way that people are showing their gratitude for receiving those gifts. And that's what I think the issue is, not necessarily providing a gift to somebody. So yeah, definitely you can show people how to, maybe to display more gratitude and to be thankful as somebody is spending money on them or buying them gifts or showing appreciation. Is again, the focus might be the money aspect of it, but you can look at it from a different perspective as far as for just showing appreciation. And that's something that, it's not necessarily highlighted enough, how we show appreciation to people. And then what also isn't highlighted is how people receive those gifts to show that appreciation and gratitude. So those are probably some things that you can look at changing. Is if that video was displayed of him buying her something and she was overly joyed, she was appreciative, and it was a happy video, I think we might be looking at the video a little bit different versus the comments that she made, the underhanded comments and the passive aggressive comments of, yeah, he does this all the time, that's what he should have done. Or then even him just complaining as far as for, saying she does this all the time when I buy her stuff. So again, it's just looking at those little nitpicky things, but those are the things that are tangible, obviously online, and gets the conversations going. And then, like Silver Wanderer mentioned, money over self-esteem. Exactly, because it's harder to build self-esteem, and it might be easier to get the money and spend that money in lieu of having the self-esteem. So again, it's another false sense of security of you spending something over on somebody and not necessarily having the self-esteem to build up and have those conversations and establish that relationship, because you can get the same results without spending money just by simply, talking to somebody, showing them how much you care, building, pouring into them, maybe looking into their dreams and providing different opportunities for them to excel. And those are some things that we can also talk about into the community, but don't necessarily talk about those things a lot either. So again, it's different ways that we can move forward in the community versus, focusing monetarily and spending money on folks. Other ways to pour into people is, by building them up, investing into them, through education, investing into them by, trying to help them build themselves up to be a better version of themselves. And those are some topics that are, great topics to discuss as well. But it is also the holiday season. So a lot of people are outside shopping. A lot of people are going through hard times. So that's also a way to lift spirits is, taking people out to go shopping and making them feel better than they did a day or 2 days prior. So it just depends on what's going on in the community and how you're looking to build folks up. Some of the other comments in the section is, he said he agreed with the last one. His girl will spend money on him. My girl never asked me for money, and vice versa. And that sounds pretty solid. And if that's something that you're happy with in your relationship, and that's perfect. It sounds like you have a good understanding with your partner. And the most important thing is communication. So you guys agree, and you don't ask each other for money. I'm sure if she needs something or if you need something, I'm sure you're probably more than willing and welcome to give that money, or not necessarily money, anything that they need. Time is just equally as valuable as money. If you're spending money or spending time on people, you can't get your time back. So that's important as well. So being able to provide time and opportunity. So good post right there. Definitely agree with you on that one. You want to make sure that it's reciprocal. You want to make sure that you can provide time, you can provide opportunities for that individual. And then the best part about it is when they care about your benefits and investing into your future as well, and as well as your happiness. So that's something that can be focused on, and it's not focused on enough. Is what exactly makes somebody happy. Again, we talked about the love languages. It can be just the act of receiving, simple gestures, just asking about somebody as far as for their day, tapping in and filling in throughout the day, making sure that they're doing all right. Little things as simple as, how was your day? Actually caring. Don't just ask the question if you don't really necessarily, give a shit, because that would kind of seem a little empty as well. and then providing that shoulder to be there, that ear, if they want to listen, giving them the opportunity to talk and express themselves. A lot of times when talking to people, that's the biggest issue, is they don't necessarily want to share with you because they don't think you actually care. You know, think about the amount of times when, if you walk into work or you walk into a place and somebody asks how you're doing, and then you don't really know if they really care or not, or they're just asking to go through formalities. But one way to catch them off guard is by actually telling them one day, hey, you know what, I'm having a pretty crappy day, and then see what the response is from that point. And if they respond, then go into conversation, and then you can establish that dialogue and that communication there, and then see how that feels. That might give you the same feeling of happiness or joy that somebody going out and spending maybe $5 or $10 or $15 on you could do. Establish that conversation, that dialogue, and then, you know, basically what you're doing is you're calling them out because they're asking how you're feeling. So then you want to take them up on that offer and share how you're feeling. You know, tell them about your day. Tell them about, you know, the goods, the bads. Depending on how long the conversation is, obviously, you want to talk about some of those highs and some of those lows in order to kind of get you through the next point. And also taking into consideration that, you know, you don't want to trauma dump just because somebody asks you about your day. Don't take that as an opportunity to just download and unload everything that has been going on. But, you know, share 1 or 2 points, feels, just to see how they're going and if that's something that works out.
Hey man, appreciate you stepping in, brother. I know you left some wise words here. I had me an impromptu situation pop up, but shout outs to you, shout outs to the people in the building. I hope this conversation helped y'all. We spin it back later. Thank you both for stepping in. I enjoyed this one a lot. Y'all stay warm. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, just in case we don't get to chop it up later. And talk with y'all soon.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't run on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.